Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum friends. Welcome back to the latest episode of Football Gupshup. We'll be starting this transfer story where we're gonna be doing this Sunday newspaper. Sorry guys for that background sound. Just need to mute that one. And we'll be starting with the paper talk. What we'll be doing is, every Sunday there are newspapers coming out, and it has been happening for so long that different stories do come out for different clubs. And what we'll be doing is we'll be giving you out different breaking stories coming out from different journalists. So that's what we're going to do. We will be running some polls as well, and we'll be asking your suggestion what you guys think in regarding to that story or link. And that's what we'll be doing. Hopefully you guys will be enjoying this episode today. Hello Demba, thank you very much for tuning in, and it's very nice of you for joining us today this early in the morning on Sunday. I'm sure that you guys have other important things to do, but this is really appreciated that you guys have tuned in today. So what we'll be doing is we'll be starting with newspapers. We'll be going through every major newspaper, starting from our favorite, The Sun. And I've got this headline with me over here. I was just going through, and it's really interesting that, for some reason I do understand that newspapers, they tend to bring out these stories just because they do know that they need something bigger to break, to catch some attention, even though there's nothing concrete in it. Or it's just like one of those stories, it doesn't make sense, but because of the reason that they have to sell the newspapers, they do tend to put out these kind of stories. Now, I heard about this yesterday. The reason I didn't mention about this in the live watch along, because I thought, maybe this is just one of those really, really non important stories. But anyway, it is reported on The Sun, and I'm going to go through what it is. It's been reported by Phil Thomas, and it goes to say that Manchester United to join Robert Lewandowski transfer race in similar deal that brought Ronaldo back if Barcelona move collapses. Now, everybody knows that Manchester United have got Cristiano Ronaldo, right? And Manchester United fans want somebody who's a young striker, because they would want to see what's going to be post Cristiano Ronaldo, because Cristiano Ronaldo is not getting younger any day. He'll be getting older, and the replacement should be a young striker. I think Darwin Núñez was that striker that United fans wanted, and for some reason he has opted to go and play for Liverpool. He'll be signing the contract. He'll be willing to play for Jurgen Klopp's side. Now, if that signing has not been made, United cannot force to think that they need to go out and get another player who's going to be like post 32. And I understand that Cristiano Ronaldo he is Cristiano Ronaldo, and he had that history with Manchester United. Now, these kind of stories reporting in the newspaper and in such a major outlet, it doesn't make sense. Even if the United board are well capable of doing these kind of gimmicks, because they signed Cavani, who was already into his post 33, 34 years of age, and Cristiano Ronaldo was 36, 37. I can expect them to go for Lewandowski, but it wouldn't make any sense, because Lewandowski, he hasn't been tested in Premier League, although he's a world-class striker. And even if you get him, can you imagine having Cristiano Ronaldo and Robert Lewandowski, and then you have to go and choose either one of them to play? It wouldn't make any sense. And if you start those two up front, then that means you'll be playing with 8 men. So it doesn't make sense logically, and that is the reason I would say that I would be pretty much dismissive of these kind of news. I would say that you should really, really try to, because this summer transfer window is gonna be a big, big window. We are talking about almost like 3 months, and it's gonna come up with stories such as these, which is gonna be really, really berserk. And I'm sure that it's not even going to be Manchester United. They're going to be about other clubs as well. I'm sure the likes of Arsenal, the likes of Manchester City, Chelsea, particularly Chelsea, because Chelsea won't have Roman Abramovich. They would want to make some of the transfer moves to get some players in, because they would want to sell some players. So I can expect like lots of these stories will be coming out just for no reason, just because these major media outlets, they want to sell newspaper. Imagine you're walking yourself to the morning shop just to get some errands. You want to catch some milk or something, and you see the newspaper, and on the back page it says that Lewandowski to Manchester United. It would just go like, you would shake your head and you go like, you know what? I would want to grab that newspaper and pay that 50p or a pound, or like, these kind of stories don't make sense at all. That is the reason why social media has taken its rightful place, because anything which is like crap, or you could call them bullshit, you can just write them off. And I would seriously think that these kind of stories really really don't make sense. And I'm going to go through Daily Mirror as well. I was just going through other news, and I do understand that Barcelona are interested in Robert Lewandowski. They would want to buy him, and Robert Lewandowski is an interest to Barcelona, and Robert Lewandowski would love to play for Barcelona. Now, the news which did come in was that Robert Lewandowski would be interested. If he can't get a move to Barcelona, then it would be PSG. Now, that is something, it again doesn't make sense to me, because if Robert Lewandowski goes to PSG, then what does it mean? Because they got the front three, Mbappe, Neymar and Messi. Now imagine if you add Lewandowski, who's going to trace back, who's going to come back and defend? I don't expect Mbappe, I don't expect Neymar. I expect Messi to drop in back, maybe as a midfielder. But imagine if you have Lewandowski playing up front. Would he trace back? Would he come back and help out his teammates? It's one of those that it doesn't make sense to me, because remember Pochettino, his future is still up in the air. Imagine if they get a new manager, and if that new manager comes in and if he has his plans of his own, I think they would rather go for somebody like Nkunku, because Nkunku could trace back. He does that for RB Leipzig, and PSG would be considering those kind of players who would go out and help out their teammates, and they would be able to do that. That's what I think. But anyway, that's what it is. And moving forward, I would be also saying that, we'll be speaking about Arsenal. I was quite surprised that Gabriel Jesus has been reported, and he's been linked with so many clubs now that at one point we thought that he was going to be joining Arsenal, and for some reason it has been reported that he is the target now for Chelsea, and he's target for Real Madrid as well. I don't know where that one is coming from. Maybe they're looking for a replacement for Karim Benzema. If Karim Benzema can't play all of the games, then they would want someone to come off the bench. That is why Real Madrid are looking for Gabriel Jesus. I'm sure that Manchester City will be looking for top bucks. Certainly, if he moves into the Premier League, if he moves to a club like Arsenal, I think Mikel Arteta is going to be... I think he will find it hard to prize him away now, because there's so many clubs interested in him. And if Chelsea does come in, if Real Madrid come in, then you're talking about that many clubs would be getting into a bidding war, and I'm sure that Arsenal wouldn't want to get into a bidding war. The safe side would be that I do understand that Gabriel Jesus has that Premier League experience, but if in any case, if the price goes up and Manchester City are asking for lots of money, they perhaps will have to move to a new target, or perhaps they will have to move to their secondary target. It might be Jonathan David, or it might be somebody else, maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or we do not know, maybe some other name that perhaps Arsenal scouting team would know. But knowingly that Gabriel Jesus plays for Manchester City, he has played with Mikel Arteta, he knows what Mikel Arteta wants, and it has to come from him. Like, if he's the one who would say that, I want to go and play for Arsenal, I want to go and play for Mikel Arteta, then you would get the point that, okay, the player wants that move, and that is the reason that Manchester City would have to sit down with Arsenal, talk about that number on which there could be a compromise for both of the clubs, and then they could see that if they can do this transfer. Now, City, they got Erling Haaland, they signed Alvarez from River Plate, and they got plenty of options now up front. Now, this talk about Bernardo Silva, I'll be coming back to that later, because that's been discussed in Mirror. I'll be coming back to that, and I'll be going to the Daily Mail as well, and then we'll go to the other major journalists. So that is what I've seen in Sun. Otherwise, I haven't seen anything reported other than Darwin Nunes. We'll be talking about that one as well. But let's go to Daily Mirror. And the news which I want to discuss about is Arsenal are exploring Asensio deal. Now, how much truth is in there, we do not know, because Asensio, I think his time is up at Real Madrid. There are going to be many clubs who will be linked to him. I think Asensio is a good talent, but his talent has been dying down for so many years. Like, I remember when Valverde joined Real Madrid, and everybody expected that Asensio and Isco would be still playing for Real Madrid, but somehow Isco has done his contract. Asensio is on the sideline, and Valverde has made himself one of the important names in the first 11. He's playing as a winger, and they can't leave him out because of Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro. So that is why they have to keep selecting Valverde. It doesn't matter they put him on the wing or they put him on the right hand side of the pitch, but they can't play without him, and that is the reason why Valverde has become more important player than Asensio, than Isco. That is why Real Madrid have let go of Isco, and now they're looking to make a deal with Asensio with any other club. They're not demanding one of those high values of the player which they used to do if you go back some years, and the valuation which has been reported is between about 20 to 25 million, which is pretty much reasonable for a player like his quality, and a club like Arsenal would be interested. I wouldn't be surprised that if any other club would coming for him as well. I think like 2 days back it was Manchester United who were linked for him. What it means is that his agent is apparently bringing the stories up in the media. He would want to find his client a new club, and if he's successful in to get that for his client, then that means Asensio will find a new club and he will play for the new team, and he would be happy for that. I'm sure that he would want a decent wage, because I do understand that his stock value has gone down. He won't be able to demand those big numbers in terms of salary wise, so he will have to be much, you could say he will have to agree on a much economical salary, in which he would say that, you know what, I'm playing for a new club, I'm going to restart my career in another manner, and I want to feel important, I want to play football. So in that case, I think Arsenal would be the perfect club. Now, does he gets a place in an Arsenal squad, or does he gets a place in Arsenal first 11? That are two different questions. I think Arsenal fans would be the ones to answer that. I think they would know their team better. If you would ask me about my opinion, what I would think is that they've got Odegaard, they play in a different style under Arteta, and how would Asensio suit Mikel Arteta? Perhaps Mikel Arteta is looking for another way to approach the game, because this season has been disappointing. They were running for that number 4 spot. Nobody expected it at the beginning of the season, and he did well. They were almost in that 4th place, but for some reason they just got caught out by Spurs. Antonio Conte did a brilliant job with Spurs. We'll come back to them as well later in this episode. But as far as concerning Mikel Arteta, I think he's looking for something different. That is the reason he's going for the likes of Tielemans, Rafinha. I think he wants more shots at goal. He wants more threat going at goal. He's looking for more different kind of offensive. That is the reason he's trying to target Gabriel Jesus. The flair, that speed thing is pretty important to him. Imagine if he gets Rafinha, he gets Gabriel Jesus, he gets Tielemans, and if he gets Asensio, then you could say that adding Martinelli, or adding Saka, you got Nketiah. That's a pretty ferocious attacking side, you know. If you got these 8 players who are going to be playing up front, I think this is one ferocious side that they're building, and they're building it slowly, bit by bit. Now, if Arsenal really do get these kind of targets, and without any trouble, because you're talking about these transfers would cost them, because Rafinha would cost them like 40 million, Tielemans would cost them like 35 to 40 million, so that's 80 million straight away. Gabriel Jesus would cost them 45 million, so you're talking about 125 million. Then if you come to like Asensio, like 25 million, that would be about 150 million. And if you had that kind of attack, and if you have that kind of players like Thomas Partey, you got Elneny, you got Tielemans, That's a proper midfield with Odegaard. I think Arsenal will be building a strong side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a poll over here. What I need you guys to do is you need to give in your vote. What do you guys think? That would Asensio be a good addition to the Arsenal squad? Do you think that Arsenal should go for a play like Asensio? I would like to know your guys' opinion, and if you can please give in your vote. I'm just putting out a poll here right now, and if you guys can answer me in this poll, would Asensio be a good addition to Arsenal squad this season? So there you go, guys. I'm just gonna post out this poll. You guys can give me your answer in this poll right now, and it would make pretty much sense that if you guys can answer this. Now that's what we have for Arsenal. I would be moving on to something new, and unless there's another report coming in from other newspapers. So far this is what we have: Asensio being linked to Arsenal. We're going to be talking about United in a while. I just want to see Manchester City first. Now this news is quite interesting one. Bernardo Silva, yesterday we were talking about this, and for some reason I don't understand the point that people tend to make, is that Bernardo Silva, he is such an important player for Manchester City. Now, after David Silva left, Bernardo Silva was that person. He was that player who was pretty much important in making that creativity little bit excel. Because remember, guys, David Silva, Yaya Toure, they were the proper Manchester City players who were really the backbone of Manchester City, the team which won the title with Pellegrini, with Mancini. And what I think is that it has been evolving since then, and Bernardo Silva is that important key player in that evolution. David Silva left the club, then they had Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva. They had Gundogan as well. Now Gundogan is also looking for a move from Manchester City. I think this report came in last year as well that Gundogan might be leaving at the end of the season. He's looking for a club. It has been reported that Juventus are interested in him, Real Madrid are interested in him. Now, I can't see this happening, that if Manchester City, they want to sell the likes of Sterling, they want to sell the likes of Riyad Mahrez, they want to sell the likes of Gundogan, and if they would want to sell Bernardo Silva, that's four key important players for the title winning side of Manchester City. I have never seen this happening, that a team which has four champions in your squad, in your first 11, and you would be selling them and getting the replacement, whoever they may be. Like, at the best you can do is you can sell two of them, and next season you sell the next two of them. But I've never seen like that you would be straight away replacing four key players in your first 11, because I think Raheem Sterling time has come to leave Manchester City. He himself is looking for a move. I think he has done with Pep Guardiola. I think the trust between him and the coach is gone. Riyad Mahrez's situation is that he's getting old, and Manchester City would want to recoup a little bit amount of money, and they would want to go and get a replacement. But who that replacement is, maybe it's Manchester City scouting team. So far nothing has come up in the media, in social media, in the newspaper. Now regarding to that, that's what I think, that the situation with Manchester City is that they're looking for those kind of replacements. If Manchester City do sell Gundogan, they sell Riyad Mahrez, they sell Sterling, I can't see them selling Bernardo Silva. For some reason, I can't get my head around it. I can't get my head wrapped around it. Now, imagine if Barcelona do come in knocking for him and asking for Bernardo Silva, that, you know what, we like Bernardo Silva. I'm sure that Manchester City are going to ask for lots of bucks. They're not going to settle for less money. And Barcelona, the situation they have right now, currently with the financial situation, I don't think so they can afford to get Lewandowski, Bernardo Silva, Ruben Neves, all those names which have been linked to them, because all of these deals would be an upwards towards 100 to 150 million. Because Barcelona, the problem they have right now is that their debt is so big, so vast right now, that they have to make those repayments, And if they are able to make those repayments, then they would be getting penalization from La Liga. And if you get penalization from La Liga, then you're in much bigger trouble. Now, Barcelona strategy is to sell one of their assets, maybe one or two. And if they sell Frenkie de Jong, even if they sell Frenkie de Jong, you can't get three players in the name of Ruben Neves, Bernardo Silva and Lewandowski. You might be able to get at the best two of them. And I think it will be either Lewandowski and Ruben Neves rather than Bernardo Silva. But if Xavi says that he wants Bernardo Silva and you can sell Frenkie de Jong, I don't mind because I've got other players as well. I've got Pedri, I've got Gavi. So I can't see this happening. I don't know where this one is coming from. City won't be selling for less money. Hello JSK, thank you very much for tuning in. That's very kind of you to come in this morning. And I know you did touch onto this news. I can't see this thing happening that City will be selling Bernardo Silva for less money. Let's say they want to get rid of the player. Let's put it on the bed that Pep Guardiola thinks he can do better without Bernardo Silva. He has a replacement. He'll go for some other player. Let's think it like that way. But are City gonna sell him for less money? I don't think so. No chance for them to sell Bernardo Silva for less money to Barcelona. It doesn't matter whatever links he has with the club. Manchester City are not gonna settle for less money for Bernardo Silva, and Barcelona don't have enough money. Now, if let's say they have got Frank Kessie, and they say that they don't want Ruben Neves, and they would want to get Bernardo Silva and Lewandowski, I think they will have to sell another player in order to finance that. But then it doesn't make sense. Why would you want to sell the player that you have and you like to get somebody else in the same cost? Perhaps it has to do with wages as well. It was reported that maybe Bernardo Silva wage is a little bit lesser than Frenkie de Jong. So perhaps that is the reason they're going for a player like Bernardo Silva. Now, there's so many angles into this that you could talk about it the whole day. I think we'll find this about this right after Frenkie de Jong deal, because once Frenkie de Jong deal to Manchester United is done, then everybody would know that Barcelona have got the money. Then Manchester City could go and say, you know what, now you've got money from Frenkie de Jong, we would like to have that money. Now, what do Barcelona do in terms of negotiation? That's another thing. But for me, if I would have to rate this, the possibility of this happening, I would say I would give about 2 out of 5. I still think it's hard. Getting rid of Sterling, getting rid of Mahrez, getting rid of Gundogan, and then getting rid of Bernardo Silva. You don't break your championship team like that so easily. Like in one window, you're selling your top 4 players, and then if you want to sell Gabriel Jesus as well, so that makes it 5. Like, imagine you're selling your best 5 players. It wouldn't make sense. Hello Kashmiri Foodie Delight, thank you very much for tuning in. And that's what I think, guys. That's what Manchester City, I'm thinking about it. Now, there's another news coming in Mirror which has to say that Guardiola is eyeing Gavi of Barcelona. Now, I think Gavi is going to stay at Barcelona. No way I think that they will be able to prize him away. I think it's pretty tough. I think Gavi is Barcelona. I think he is such an important player. He reminds me of young Wayne Rooney. He's a beautiful player. His skill level is really, really on the next level. This guy is going to be really one of the future stars for Spain. And I think Gavi is truly a special player. And I can't think that Barcelona can cope to lose him. I remember when Ansu Fati didn't want to sign the contract, they went totally berserk on it. They said, no, this is no way possible that they will be losing Fati. I remember Manchester United were interested in him. They were talking to Fati people, and Fati people were interested in Manchester United. But Barcelona had to offer Fati a bigger contract, a bigger salary, which they have never done for a Masia player, their academy player. They have never done that, and they did that for Fati. I think they're going to do the same thing for Gavi. They do know what play they have with them, and I'm sure that Xavi would want to keep him, and that would be the first key thing that they would want to do. So in the Mirror, it has been reported in this manner. Exactly. I don't think so. This doesn't make sense. These newspapers, they just want to sell their stuff, and they do this by making these kind of fake stories. Like Gavi is interested in Manchester City, Gavi is interested in Liverpool. These kind of stories are just there to sell the newspaper, just to make an excitement kind of thing for the fans, and they would just go, you know what, maybe there's something truth in that. Now, we're going to be talking about Paul Pogba as well. I want to talk about Paul Pogba. I just want to put a small thing about it. It was reported that Pogba was close to sign for Juventus. Now, this spin has come in that apparently PSG would be apparently interested in Zinedine Zidane. They will be speaking to him to be as their new manager. Now, the question here lies is that if Zinedine Zidane becomes the new PSG manager, then will Paul Pogba would want to sign for PSG? Again, I don't know where this one is coming from. I think his deal is done with Juventus. I think his heart is set on Juventus, regardless if Zinedine Zidane joins PSG, unless and unless PSG do offer him lots of bucks of money. I think after the Mbappe deal, what PSG have done, I think it's going to be hard to pull a player like Pogba. Although they have lost Tchouaméni to Real Madrid, so there might be slight twist in that. But I think for some reason, I think Paul Pogba to Juventus is done, and it has been reported in Mirror, and that's why I just wanted to mention that. Whereas for Sadio Mane, his deal from Liverpool to Bayern Munich is almost building up. Now let's see if that does happen. I think it's just a matter of valuation. Now if the deal with Darwin Núñez takes place, which is going to take place by Tuesday, now if that thing happens, then I think Liverpool could say, you know what, Bayern Munich, if you want to do this deal, this is what we want, and there might be a compromise between the two sides, and Bayern Munich would be willing to pay. I think it also depends on Gnabry, because Gnabry wants to leave Bayern Munich. I think Bayern Munich are waiting on that as well. As soon as this deal with Sadio Mane is done, then I think they'll be looking pretty much forward to sell Gnabry, and let's see where does he go. Does he go to Arsenal? Does he go to Real Madrid? We'll find that one out as well. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about other newspaper, which is Daily Mail. And I know that Manchester United have been mentioned into this, and I would want to talk about that, but I want to talk about Chelsea. Chelsea have been reported with Dembele, they have been reported with Jules Koundé, but Daily Mail has been reporting that the former Dortmund manager, which is Thomas Tuchel, currently the manager of Chelsea, they are interested in to get Dembele, and Dembele is interested in to play for him because his football did excel under Tuchel, and he finds him the right manager, the right coach who would take him back to those heights, and that is the reason he might not go to PSG. So for that reason, sorry guys, there was a loud bang, just the door banging, and sorry about that, but that is the case that Dembele would want to join Chelsea. He would want to play under Tuchel. He wouldn't want to play for PSG. So that thing might happen. I think his talks with Barcelona are done. He doesn't want to stay at Barcelona. I think he will move for certain. Now, Thomas Tuchel would want that transfer as early as possible. And that is the reason they have put the likes of Pulisic on the market. Now, if they get Dembele on free and they sell Pulisic, then that means that's a good window for Chelsea because they sign a player on a free. Although he is an injury-laden player, he almost spent his time on the sideline because of injuries. Don't know if it sounds great to have a player like Dembele, because quality-wise, there's no doubt. Like, if I wanted ever to sign a player for Manchester United, it would be him. But because of his injuries, he's almost like glass. And I think that Chelsea will definitely get Dembele. That's what I think. And it's just a matter of time before they get him to sign that paper. I think they're just waiting for this international break to be over, and then, the players could be free to sign. Now, I'm going to be speaking about Frankie de Jong because, Frankie de Jong's story is all over the place. The thing with Frankie de Jong is that Erik ten Hag, what he has done is he has simply laid out a law to the Manchester United board that if you can't get me a player by so and so date, I'll be moving to the other targets. Simple as that. Because when we fly out for pre-season, I don't want you to still looking for the players. So I think his mind is made up. He does understand what he needs, and he's a person who makes things work out regardless of what you have. If you have a better option, then he wouldn't mind it. But if he can't get Frankie de Jong, he'll move into the other target. He'll see if that target is feasible economically. He would get it. He would get it done. And if he gets it done, he will take that player and he will make that player as an important key player for the squad, for the first 11, and play the whole season with that player. Perhaps maybe improving them in terms of skill, perhaps tactically, perhaps in other nonsense as well. But what I think is that Erik ten Hag has given this ultimatum to the United board, and fans are really appreciating this, that there is a manager now who is kind of making things happen in his own way. He has his own authority, and he has simply laid it out to the board that, okay, it doesn't matter if you haven't got the money, you can't get me this player. Okay, this is a target. Let's see if you can go and get this player. But I want my players by this date, and I don't care that if you get it or not, because you have to get it. If you would say to me that I'm flying out on a preseason and if I don't have my players, I'm just going to stick with the team what we have. And then there'll be problems of not selling the players, because for him preseason is as important as the whole season. So this guy is totally on the dot, totally on the money. He doesn't want to have any kind of lapse, and that is the reason that I think this guy is going to be a serious manager, a serious coach for Manchester United, which the United fans were longing for so long. Especially, I think after Sir Alex Ferguson, it was a little bit coming from Jose Mourinho. But after Jose Mourinho, this is the first time that United fans are feeling comfortable that there is a person who will have this authority. Now, this is what we have with Frankie de Jong. This decision, he's given the ultimatum by, I think, he has given the ultimatum by Saturday. Now, I don't know when United do fly out for the preseason, but that means he has given this ultimatum. So let's see what happens. Now, we're going to be talking about Fabrizio Romano, because everybody knows that how big a name he is. We'll be talking about his transfer stories which he has been breaking, and I just wanted to put out a light on him that he has been reporting these stories, and for some reason that it doesn't come out on many of the media, but he does keep on tweeting. Now, he has said that Darwin Núñez will be signing a 6-year deal until 2028, and he thinks the deal is done. He is in Spain with his agent, and he'll be flying to Merseyside, so Liverpool will be getting their player. They'll be getting Darwin Núñez, and Arsenal will receive, now this is the news for Arsenal GSK, Arsenal will receive around 10 to 11 million for Guendouzi from Marseille. The deal is already sealed after clauses have been met. So there you go. Arsenal making a little bit of money. Now, with Lucas Torreira's future is yet to be decided. Still no agreement with Fiorentina. His contract expires in 2023. So Lucas Torreira could be sold. So Arsenal are trying to raise some cash. They have missed out on the Champions League. They have missed out on that Champions League pot, that financial guarantee that you get a certain amount of money. And I think Arsenal will be selling some players. They'll be offloading some players. That is the reason why they might be selling Xhaka to Bayer Leverkusen. And that is why it has been reported that Arsenal are now willing to listen to the offers to some of the players. I think Bellerin will be sold as well. Where does he go to? How much Arsenal do accept for him? That's another question. Now, we're going to be talking about other player as well. It's about, I just have it with me over here. It was Ryan Gravenberch. Ryan Gravenberch has signed with Bayern Munich. This was a deal which started even before the season was going on, that Bayern Munich were interested in Ryan Gravenberch, and finally that the deal is done. He has signed the contract, and Bayern Munich have got their man, so they will have a pretty talented guy in Gravenberch. I do like the way Bayern Munich operate. They tend to target a certain player, and for some reason they do not tend to miss out on the targets. I don't know how do they do it. I think maybe the aura, maybe the appeal of playing for Bayern Munich is a little bit too much, and that is the reason they always get their player, and that is the reason why they will have a strong squad again. They're going to be rebuilding. What do they do with Lewandowski? This is another question, but we'll find that one out soon as well. Now, We have also going to report about PSG link with Skriniar. I reported this earlier. There are talks going on between Inter Milan and PSG regarding Skriniar. PSG wants Skriniar. They are looking for a 50 million deal. Inter Milan are looking for 80 million euros. I think it was reported that a compromise might be reached of about 60 to 70 million euros. We'll find about that. Now, Inter are still pushing for Dybala. If they get Dybala, then that means they would have to sell some players. That is where Skriniar comes in. That is why they would be willing to listen to offers to Skriniar, which will be a pretty good deal for PSG, getting a defender like Skriniar. I think nobody would mind it if they would be getting Skriniar. Now, another news is regarding Tottenham Hotspur. This news did come in, and I think that Tottenham have made a brilliant steal on this. They have signed, they are interested, and I think they will definitely sign Spence from Nottingham. I think that this guy is a really, really good player. He's going to be the right back for Tottenham, and if he does sign, I think they will definitely have a steal. I think Antonio Conte wants his fullbacks. I think he will sell some of the players, and then he will try to get his replacements, and that is why for him fullbacks are the most important players for him in his squad, in his tactical play. So that is the reason why he is going after Spence. Now, other than that, this is the news so far that we have over here. Just want to draw on to the other talk as well, is regarding a play which caught my eye, but I didn't mention about it. It's to do with Jonathan David. Now, Jonathan David is a name which has been circulating in so many circles, that Jonathan David is an important player. He will be of name because he will be playing with Canada in the World Cup. His stock is going to go up. So the clubs are wary of that. They would want to get this player just before the World Cup. They wouldn't want to miss it out, because imagine if you get Jonathan David next season, he would have played the World Cup, and if he makes that tournament an impactful, then his stock would go up and his price would go up. So it's better to go for him now rather than after the World Cup, because then you would be finding him expensive in order to acquire him. So that's what it has been reported. So for sure we will be seeing some moves happening for Jonathan David. Now, which club will it be? We do not know. I do know that Arsenal are looking for a striker. Most probably he will go to Arsenal, and that is what we have. So far this is what has been reported in the morning transfer stories for the Sunday newspapers. I'm just going to go through and see what has been reported in one other major Sunday transfer news. I think it's Independent newspaper. They tend to do these transfer stories, and normally those transfer stories do come out, and I have got with me. Let's see if they have reported anything, but for some reason they haven't been reporting because of the normal transfer season. No, they have not reported anything. Let's see another newspaper. I just want to have a look at Marca, because Marca is a Spanish newspaper, and they do tend to report some of the news, breaking news, with the tabloids. So let's see what have they been reporting. Let's see, because I want to get some news from Spain as well. We did Asensio one with Arsenal, so they haven't reported. I think they reported on Chimeni, and other than that, nothing else as that important they have reported. Perhaps it's too early in the transfer market. And guys, if you do have any suggestions, please do let me know about any other players that if you want a story about. Sorry, Dinba, I haven't got any news for Everton. Nothing has been reported so far. I think they're going to be outgoing first. Richarlison is interested in to move for a new club. Tottenham Hotspur have been linked with him lately, and the fee which has been reported is 60 million euros. Now, can Tottenham get him? What will Everton do in terms of that money? Will they give it to Frank Lampard to spend it on the squad, or because they are in serious trouble regarding FFP, they have to show profits, because they are showing the loss in the region of 300 something million, which is the borderline. I think they will have to sell some players, they will have to show some profit. And Tarkowski has been reported, because I think Burnley have relegated, So that is the reason why Tarkowski has been linked to Everton. Now, remember, guys, Everton will be linked to these players because Everton stories are going to come out that they're linked to these kind of players because they're looking for financial aspect, like they're looking like for cheap deals. They don't want to spend that much money, and for that reason you will hear stories like Tarkowski to Everton, because I remember Tarkowski was a target for Newcastle United. Now, because Burnley has been relegated, because Newcastle United are safe, Newcastle United are going to go for high profile defenders. Now, if that is true, and if Newcastle United are going for high profile targets better than Tarkowski, then what they're going to do is they're going to find a club in a similar mold who is in a similar problem or trouble, and they would want to link the likes of Tarkowski with the likes of Newcastle United, and now it's Everton. So I would be a little bit mindful that, Tarkowski to Everton, if he's a Lampard kind of player, will it, because you got Michael Keane and you got Holgate and you got Godfrey. Like, is Tarkowski better than them? I don't know. Like, I think maybe Lampard would have other ideas. Maybe he would go for some other players, and I don't know. Maybe this is just a tabloid thing, or perhaps there might be truth in it because they want to link these kind of players. Remember, everything which comes out, you just need to check out if it's coming from multiple sources. This story came out just from one source, and it just been circulating in the media. There has been no backing. There's no a follow on. Like, nobody said, they're talking to Tarkowski, this might happen. So I would be mindful of that, because if it's not carrying up till now and nobody's bringing in new reports that there are talks going on or something is happening, then that means, it might be, it might not be. Sometimes clubs, they want to do things quietly. They just announce it that, hey, you know what, Frank Lampard has signed Tarkowski for Everton. Maybe that happens. It can happen. There's a possibility. But I would say that Everton need cash. So first thing you need to watch is that Everton sell some players. Yes, but I know he's a free agent, but is that what Lampard needs right now? Because if Lampard needs Tarkowski, and if he would be, giving a certain wage to Tarkowski, because remember, Tarkowski will be asking for money, especially for a signing on fee as well, because it's a free transfer. Now, can Everton manage that kind of deal? That's, you have to see. Yeah, I know, they got relegated, but the question here is that if you want to sign Tarkowski, you'll be giving him signing on fee. You'll be giving him good wages because he's 29, 30. He'll still be his last contract. So if you give him that kind of money, now, does it make sense as an Everton fan? Would you want him? That's the thing, because if there is any other better replacement, like in terms of defense, then you would still want to wait out. But if your primary target is Tarkowski, then I think you will go for him. But I think Everton do need some offensive players as well, and I think they're just waiting for Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. As soon as those two deals are done, then you guys will be in transfer market, and then you'll be linked with some serious players. Now, will those players be interested in to join Everton? That is something which Frank Lampard will have to do, because he will have to really go and hunt some good players. I think Everton recruitment department this season is going to be a little bit tough to find those right targets, to find those right players. Everton, I think they can go and get some good deals out there. There are some pretty good deals out there which they can do. It's just a matter of how they will be able to pull those deals. I think Frank Lampard has some links to Chelsea. He has some links to Leeds United. He has some link to, you could say, he could go and hunt somebody from the academies, and he could go and hunt out those young talents, maybe get those loan deals. The one which I couldn't make sense was Dele Alli. Dele Alli was, I don't know why did he go for Dele Alli. Maybe he thought that he could convince him to play football, to play as he used to be. I think that one is going to be a question mark for Frank Lampard's decision. I don't know, how do you take it as a fan? And I think Dele Alli wasn't a good move. I think Dele Alli was. I know it was outside the box, but I think it's not good. But let's see what Dele Alli does. I'm not sure that there will be any club interested in him right now. And if he is a serious person, if he listens to Frank Lampard, then he could definitely make a comeback. And if he makes a comeback, then that will be a story to tell, because if he does it, like as Jose Mourinho said, you know what? He has got in him. He's a really different player than other players at his age level. So perhaps that is one thing right now which you have to see. As for Tarkowski, let's see and wait it out, because I do know it's a good deal because you're signing on a free, but you know what? Is that what you want? Because if he's that of a good quality player, then you have a question mark that Burnley got relegated. And Newcastle United were interested in him in January. And I know that Burnley wouldn't want to sell him to a team which is aiming to survive. Now, Everton, they have to make this question. Do they want to fight relegation again? Or do they want to improve a little bit more and just to be away from relegation? Because if you want to be away from relegation, then you need to go and hunt some nice and good players. And that's what I think. But if you want somebody with Premier League experience, with English football experience, and if you want somebody who has done it in the Premier League, then Tarkowski wouldn't be bad. But I don't know. It depends on Frank Lampard, what he thinks and what he wants. So, guys, this is what we have for today morning paper talk. I want to thank you and appreciate you guys that you have joined me today. I'll be tuning in later 5 p.m. for the evening one. And I thought Dele Alli was not a good nor bad signing, as I know he's getting a bit worse, but he was a hero in World Cup 2018. That is true. But the case with Dele Alli is that now, imagine if he doesn't do good, right? Now, he's on Everton books. Now, what are you going to do about that? Nobody's going to ask for a transfer. Maybe if they ask for a transfer, they're going to ask for lesser money. And would he be willing to move to another club? Now, when you get a player like this, you should always keep in mind, it might work, it might not work. But for me, it depends on, if it doesn't work, then how much loss are you accepting to bear? Because if you think that if Dele Alli doesn't come good, would you be willing to pick up his wages for that long, as long as he stays in the club? Now, if you do that and you're already in financial trouble, this kind of deal doesn't make sense. Like, you have to be sure when you are having financial problems, you have to make sure that the deal you go for the player you go for, they have to produce. They have to produce at all costs. And Dele Alli wasn't producing for Tottenham. So how come you're going for a player who has not been producing good, and you're investing yourself in that player and hoping for a miracle to happen, that he would somehow turn out for your club? I think that's much of a bigger risk. If you evaluate in serious time, I remember Jordan talking about Simon and Jordan on Talksport. They were having conversation when Dele Alli joined Everton, and they were having this big argument that does it make sense for Everton? Should they do it? And I come to the fact, and I come back to the same point, that if it is to do with the financial aspect, that your club is already in a financial trouble, you're already making a loss, to go for a player who's not producing good for the present club, I think that's a bad deal. You should go for a player who you think is going to improve you, who is already on a level he's producing good, and that's what you should be doing. Yeah, I do understand Frank Lampard has something to do with his philosophy has always been, he trusts the academy players, he trusts those English players, and I do get him. I do understand why does he do that, because those players, they too tend to listen, and that is the reason why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer also trusted that. But I think Frank Lampard should be little bit, he should be going along the spectrum, because his spectrum focus is on the young talent produced by English. But I think he should little bit he should spread himself, because imagine if he doesn't do good in Everton job, I can't see any club in the future hiring him as a new manager. So this Everton job is a kind of a platform where he needs to do good. If he isn't able to do good in this job, for some reason I can't see any other club going for him. And it will be a lot of collateral to hire Lampard as your manager. So Lampard has to think outside the box. He has to go into the foreign market. He has to hunt for better targets. He has to get those better players who are out there for a nominal fee. Imagine if he gets 3 or 4 players from the foreign market and he coaches them and he manages to get best out of them, his stock is going to go right way up. Everton are going to go way up. So that's what I think what Lampard needs to do is he needs to little bit change his way of thinking, because it's the same thing what he did at Derby, it's the same thing he did at Chelsea, and he shouldn't be doing the same thing at Everton. You've done it twice, you shouldn't be doing it 3 times, because it will kill your career and it will be bad for your present club. You shouldn't be doing that. Now Dele Alli experience has proven that. Now if he would have gone for a player like Spence, then I would say, you know what, that's a good move, because Spence is up and coming player. He can improve Everton. Coleman is getting older. Spence comes and joins Everton. He gets a platform. He does better. In 3-4 years time, Everton can get a good price for him. He can move on to a bigger club. But if you go for a player like Dele Alli, who's not been playing good for Tottenham, you're investing in that player, offering him those wages, and if he doesn't come good, then it's just you're just making more liable. You're making more liabilities. So that is why I think Frank Lampard needs to change his tactic and philosophy in the transfer market. So that's what it is. Guys, I want to thank you very much, because this episode has grown into 1 hour, which I really appreciated that you guys have been sticking with me. I'll be coming later in the evening when the transfer stories will be developing more by the day, and I'm sure you guys will be tuning in, and we'll be discussing more transfer stories as the transfer stories get built up by today, and hopefully you guys will be tuning in at 5 p.m. So I want to thank every one of you, Dinba, JSK. Thank you very much for tuning in, Kashmiri Foodie Delight, everyone, and the rest of you who've been watching. I would really want to appreciate you guys for joining me today, and this has been really nice. I would be willing to do this every day. It really, I really love transfer stories. Right now is the best period because we'll be linked with so many players, so many clubs, and it's really one of the exciting days. I want to build this up when the deadline day happens, and I would really much, to be into it, and you guys coming and taking part into it, exchanging comments, exchanging views, and it really, really helps to build this community which we are having. I really want to appreciate Denba. I really want to appreciate JSK. You two fellas have been really, really nice for tuning in today, and hopefully this is a build up for getting bigger and bigger. I can't thank you enough, both of you guys. I hope that moving on, further into this football Gupshup journey, we'll be continuing this and we'll be growing day by day. And I think you two guys are really, really a blessing, and I really want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart that you guys have joined in today, and really appreciate it. So guys, we'll be tuning in later, 5 p.m. in the evening, and hopefully we'll have more stories to discuss. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you once again, and please subscribe, press that like button. Please do let your friends know who do love football about this channel. I would be really appreciative if you can. Please, we are trying to build this football community over here, and please guys, I wanna thank you, Dinba. Thank you very much. It's really appreciative. They'll be coming at 5 p.m. show. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll have more stories, because as the day progresses, the stories will be coming out. Many journalists will be reporting it, and I would be holding on my pen and paper and writing them down, whatever comes up and whatever updates keep coming up. And by 5 p.m. we'll have lots of stories to discuss. So guys, I want to thank you everyone, and hopefully I'll be seeing you at the 5 p.m. show. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you at 5 p.m.